Bonjour tout le monde. Hello everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Learn French with Madame. Aujourd'hui, dans notre vidéo, on va parler au sujet du conditionnel. So today in our video, we're going to talk about le conditionnel, what it means in English, how to form it, what are 3 examples that we can do of regular verbs, and then we'll talk about the irregular stems. If we have a little bit of time at the end, we'll also add in a little bit about si clauses because it ties into le conditionnel. OK? Donc, on commence. So let's start. On commence avec le conditionnel, mais en anglais. So we're going to start with the conditional, but a little bit in English. The conditional in French is used to express things that would happen. So that's what it is in English, the would. For example, I would be a French teacher if I spoke French. Or I would buy a boat if I wanted. I would eat sushi if I wanted. Sushi is gross. So, let's talk about how we form it. Le conditionnel, c'est très simple. The conditional is pretty simple parce qu'on a déjà fait beaucoup de travail because we've already done a lot of work. The conditional is basically taking 2 tenses that we have already learned and mashing them together. Like when you were learning English, you learned that A has an A sound and T has a T sound. So to make the word at, you took A, and then combined it with T, so you got at. So at. That's how you got that word. Same thing with le conditionnel. On va utiliser deux temps. So we're going to use 2 tenses. Le premier temps, the first tense that we're going to use is the future tense. So we're going to use the stem of the verb from the future, and then we're going to combine that with our imparfait endings. So future stem, imparfait endings. Both of those we should remember. If you don't, pause the video, go back and watch the video about future so you can get a review of those future stems, including the irregulars. And then if you don't remember the imparfait endings, rewatch the video about imparfait, then come back here. Otherwise, you might be a little bit lost. And it might seem a little bit harder than it actually is. So, in order to form le conditionnel, we need the future stem and imparfait endings. That means that if a verb is irregular in the future, it's also going to be irregular or have a spelling change in le conditionnel, in the conditional. So that part hasn't changed. Mais on va commencer avec 3 verbes qui sont réguliers. So we're going to start with 3 verbs that are regular. 3 regular verbs. We're going to start easy. Le premier verbe, c'est le premier groupe, c'est ER. So we're going to start with our first group of verbs that is regular, our ER verbs, our trusty ER verbs. First verb group that we learned in French. With our conjugation chart, I've got it all filled in. Now, to make the future stem, if you forgot, we basically take our infinitive and that becomes our future stem. Same thing with le conditionnel. So I'm basically going to take this and transplant it down here for all of my subjects. Okay, I've got all of my stems down. Now let's go through and add on our imparfait endings. So for je and tu, we add AIS, the same thing for both, AIS. For il, elle, and on, c'est un peu différent, mais pas beaucoup. It's a little bit different, but not a lot. AIT. For nous, c'est IONS. Vous, c'est IEZ. Et il et elle pluriel, c'est AIENT. AIENT. So, je parlerai, I would talk, I would speak. Ils parleraient, they would talk, they would speak. Nous parlerions, we would talk, we would speak. Okay? Pas trop difficile, not too difficult. So our second example, notre deuxième exemple va être le verbe finir. Our second example is going to be the verb finir in le deuxième groupe des verbes, in the second group of verbs. So we have our conjugation chart. And to find the future stem, remember, we basically take the infinitive and copy that down, and that becomes our future stem, sauf les irréguliers, except for the irregulars. So I'm going to copy all of this down. OK. Et puis maintenant, on peut ajouter les terminaisons de l'imparfait. So now we can add on our imparfait endings. We've got AIS pour je et tu, AIT pour il et Léon, IONS pour nous, IEZ pour vous et AIENT pour il et elle pluriel. Donc, vous finiriez, it's a little hard to say, so you gotta practice. Finiriez, you would finish. Nous finirions, we would finish. Je finirais, I would finish. OK? Troisième exemple sera un verbe qui finit avec RE. So our third example is going to be from the third group of verbs, the verbs that end in RE. So I'm going to use vendre as our example. Got my conjugation chart drawn. And there's one specific thing that I want to see if you remember from when we learned about the future. What do we have to do to verbs that end in RE in the future stem to get our future stem? What do we have to do to those verbs? Think about it. Let me know in the comments, and then I'm going to talk about it. Okay, hopefully you pause. If you didn't, no cheating. Our RE verbs, in order to get our future stem, we have to take off the E. All of our future stems and les radicaux pour le conditionnel and the stems for the conditional have to end in R. Ils doivent terminer en R. They have to end in R. So instead of copying everything down here like we did for finir and parler, we have to copy everything down sauf le E, except for the E. Okay? So everything down except for the E. OK. Et puis, notre terminaison pour l'imparfait. Then our imparfait endings. Les mêmes terminaisons qu'on a utilisées à finir et parler. The same endings that we use for finir and parler. So, AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, AIENT. So, vous vendriez, you would sell. Tu vendrais, you would sell. Nous vendrions, we would sell, etc., etc. Donc, le conditionnel, c'est pas très difficile, right? It's not too hard, not very difficult so far. Let's talk about the irregulars. So let's talk about the irregulars. I'm not going to do conjugations for all of those because that will be here for forever. And you're like, Madame, I'm not watching a 25,000 minute video. So let's just write down what those irregular stems are. And then I believe in you and you can do it by adding just the imparfait endings after it. All right. So irrégulier. Irregulars. So our first irregular that I want to talk about is the verb aller. Aller, to go. Aller changes to ir, if you forgot, ir. So ir plus les terminaisons pour l'imparfait, plus the imparfait endings. Deuxième verbe irrégulier, c'est avoir, comme toujours. Avoir is always irregular, so why stop now? Avoir change à or. A-U-R. Or. So, aurait, I would have had. I would have. Troisième verbe irrégulier, c'est le verbe devoir. Devoir, to have to or to must. Like, we don't say that in English, though. We just say you must. So, devoir changes to devre. Devre. D-E-V-R. Devre. Quatrième verbe irrégulier, c'est être, comme toujours. Être is almost always irregular, so it's like avoir. Why stop? Keep the pattern going. Être change à ser. S-E-R. Plus les terminaisons. Cinquième verbe, c'est le verbe faire. Faire change à F-E-R. F-E-R. Et on a aussi pouvoir qui change à pour. P-O-U-R-R. Pour. Après pouvoir, on a savoir. After pouvoir, we have savoir, the verb to know, as in like no facts and no places. Savoir changes to saur. S-A-U-R. Saur. Venir, c'est notre prochain. Venir is our next one. Venir, the verb to come, like come from some place, etc., etc. Venir change à viendre. Viendre. V-I-E-N-D-R. Viendre. Aussi, on a voir. I'm going to make my lines even. Voir, the verb to see. Voir change à vers au conditionnel et au futur. In the future and in the conditional, it changes to vers. V-E-R-R. Le dernier verbe irrégulier, c'est vouloir. The verb to want. Vouloir change à voudre. Voudre. V-O-U-D-R. V-O-U-D-R. Donc, tous les verbes doivent terminer en R. All of the verbs have to end in R, no matter what. They all have to end in an R. Okay? Donc, les phrases avec si. So now we're going to talk about phrases with si, like si clauses. You might have heard your teachers talking about it. You're going to use si clauses to say if someone would do something if something else. So there's always an if and then a result. That's the key thing with si clauses. So I'm going to write over here si clauses. So that way we know what we're talking about. Si clauses. Basically, this is your first part. The si starts off your sentence or ends your sentence, either way. But the si is your if. When you have si clauses, there's two main things to know. Si plus imparfait, and then your result will be in the conditionnel. So your si, your if, is the imparfait, and then your result, whatever happens, is your conditionnel. All right, let's do a couple of examples of that. Also, either one of these can come first. It doesn't always have to be if, then. It can be then, if, etc., etc. Result, if, or if, and then your result. OK? Donc, exemple numéro 1. So, example numéro 1. Example number 1. Si, if, tu voulais, if you want, être en bonne santé, because we're talking about a health unit. Si tu voulais être en bonne santé, I'm going to change colors so you can see the difference in the clauses. So, si tu voulais être en bonne santé, tu ferais de l'exercice. So, if you want to be in good health, you would do exercise. That would do is our conditional en vert in green. So our imparfait phrase is in orange, and then our conditional phrase is in green down here. So remember that you can take either part of the si clause and flip them to be in different spots. So you can use si first, or you can use your result clause first. So you can say, tu ferais de l'exercice si tu voulais être en bonne santé. Or you can say it how we wrote it. Either way is grammatically correct. Don't forget that we can also use si plus on when we are talking about inviting somebody to do something. So si on dansait, how about we dance? Or let's go dance. Si plus imparfait that way. So not the conditional, si plus on plus imparfait. Donc, mais c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. Si vous avez des questions, if you have questions, n'hésitez pas de m'envoyer des emails. Don't forget, you can always send me emails et je vais essayer de répondre and I will try to respond. I put my email in my YouTube description, in my profile. Mais c'est tout pour aujourd'hui et à plus!